Danielle Steel Family Ties. They would think we love each other, Patty said in answer to his question, but he was well aware that it would be a heavy responsibility to bear. What if it didn't work out? What would it do to her kids? They had already been through a divorce. He didn't want to jeopardize them, and he said as much to her, but she wouldn't listen. She was oblivious to his concerns. Why won't it work out? We need more time, he said sensibly, and she just smiled, as though she knew all the secrets of the world. She told him she loved him 1,000 times that night, and he made love to her again and again. It was the most exciting New Year's Eve he had ever had. They both got drunk on champagne and eventually fell asleep in each other's arms as the sun came up on a new year. Paul and Katie spent New Year's Eve at Annie's apartment. She had spent the night at his place before. His roommate had a girlfriend who had her own apartment, and conveniently, he was gone most of the time with her. But this time, Paul stayed with Katie. They made dinner in the comfortable kitchen, watched movies, and kissed at midnight. And they made love in her bed. He was gentle, loving, and respectful, and she knew that everything Annie was concerned about with different cultures didn't apply to him. He was as American as she was, no matter where he had been born, and he was the kindest man in the world. And Katie was deeply and totally in love for the first time in her life. Paul was terrified that Annie might come home in the middle of the night, and Katie kept reassuring him that she wouldn't be back till the next day. He made Katie lock her bedroom door anyway. He didn't want anyone to walk in on them, and Katie lay peacefully in his arms as they talked late into the night about all the things they cared about, their hopes and fears and dreams. He said he wanted to take her to Tehran one day to visit his family there. He wanted to go back to see it again himself. He had so many memories there and his family, but he wanted to live in the States. He just wanted her to see his country one day, and Katie wanted that too. She wanted to know everything about him and see where he lived as a child. Paul had introduced her to his parents, who had been extremely polite to her, although a little chilly at first. Paul had explained to her that they always hoped he would eventually marry a Persian girl, but he assured Katie that they would fall in love with her in time. When they got to know her better, it was the same thing that Katie had said about Annie, that she needed to get used to their relationship, and especially the fact that Katie had grown up. But Katie didn't think about her aunt at all that night. Her heart and mind were full of Paul and the life they were going to share. It was a new year, a new world, a new life with him. And the differences their families were concerned about didn't exist for them. The only world they cared about was their own.